welcome to another episode of Pet Pals. I'm Bethany Davidson, the humane educator here at Frederick County Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center. And starting off with a relatively easy task is our volunteer coordinator, Sean Snyder, doing the animal wrangling for us. And our first guest is Michael. And Michael has been a shelter resident for a while. And he is just now becoming available for adoption. And he is a total lap cat. All he wants to do is be carried around, sit on your lap, trying to take his photos. He was like, no, I don't want to go back in. I want to stay out here on your lap. People walking by were like, this cat is hilarious because he has a big personality and wants to be in your space. He's definitely a Velcro kind of a cat that wants to be with you all the time. And a lot of people are looking for that. They want that in an animal, in their pet. And he definitely fits that bill, but he does have a medical condition that sometimes can be off-putting to people. He's FIV positive, which means that he is a little bit immunocompromised. It's pretty similar. The easiest way to explain it is it's similar to HIV in people. So he can cohabitate with cats that have FIV. He can cohabitate with cats that don't. But he does need to be properly introduced. And thankfully, he spent some time in a foster home, so we know that he does well with both other cats and dogs. So he is going to be a great fit for any household, children of any age. He's just super lovable, and I'm hoping that he'll go pretty quickly, despite his FIV positive status.
So he just came back from foster care and he was there for 4 months. So why 4 months? What's that mean?
So he came in with wounds of unknown origin. That means he could be bitten by any number of things, potentially a rabid animal. So when he came in, he had pretty extensive bite wounds on all of his feet. And he actually has one toe that's like permanently retracted as a result. So things on him, he might have some arthritis in the future. Making sure that his nails are trimmed regularly so that they don't grow into the pad of his foot is going to be important. But the main thing with that, the reason for the quarantine is because we needed to make sure that he wasn't going to show symptoms of rabies because we didn't know what bit him. And it's a requirement by the state law. And, the health department here locally signs off on all of those things. And we're fortunate that we do have a volunteer who's willing to take on these 4-month quarantine cats. So Michael's just one of many cats. I think there's another cat on the floor that came from her home. Byron was also a 4-month quarantine cat. So they're in a double kind of enclosure. They only have one handler, which is why sometimes they get a little chunky because they're in a more confined space for an extended period of time, just to check and make sure that they're not showing those symptoms. And then once they're finished, they get signed off on and they can come back and be made available for adoption. And we've had a lot of cats that are in that boat over the years, and we're grateful that we do have a volunteer who's committed to helping those specific kinds of cats. Because as you can see, Michael's a great cat. So we're fortunate that we have that opportunity to give him that chance. If you want to give him a chance at a forever home and make him part of your family, you can go to visit fcac.as.me to start that process. If you're looking for a cat that's a little bit younger, but still just as affectionate, then we have 6-month-old Chakotay here. He is a very recent addition to our adoption floor. In fact, the last couple of days, we put out a bunch of cats that are, young adults in that 6 to, 1-year-old age range. So we're still getting to know him since he's a very new addition, but he, according to his behavior assessments, is a very sweet guy. A lot of cats don't necessarily love to be held, but he is a cat that's very comfortable being held, easy to pick up. You can hold him, in your traditional kind of cat holds, but they were also able to do the baby hold where you kind of cradle him in your arm, and he was still fine with that. Kids petting, which tends to be rougher petting against the grain of their fur, stuff like that. He was totally fine with that. So he's going to be a great family pet, depending on, if you're just an adult or if you have kids of any age, he's going to fit right in to that scenario. Can be a little bit shyer in his cage, not necessarily coming right up to the front and asking for attention, according to his assessment. So, if you're interested in a cuddly cat and you walk by his cage, don't just walk by because he doesn't come up. Stop and engage him a little bit. Ask the staff or volunteers to open it up so that you can actually interact with him, so that you can really get to know his true personality. You know, not every cat is begging for attention in the shelter, but those ones that are kind of a little bit more reserved in their cage might actually be exactly what you're looking for. Doesn't seem to have any issues with the surrounding cats or anything like that. And as you can see, total lap cat.
So Chakotay is listed as a red tabby. What's the difference between a red tabby and an orange tabby?
So a lot of animals that come in just in any color, potential shade of orange, everybody says they're orange. But in that kind of family, there's actually 3 colors. So the darkest color, where you can see the really dark stripes on him that are almost like a brownish or a burnt orange, those cats are considered red tabbies. And then you have, you know, your traditional orange tabby, which is the lighter, kind of brighter color. And then you get the lightest of the 3, which is going to be your cream tabby. And those are important to know the difference, because it does set them apart. You know, if you say that your cat is lost and you tell me it's a red tabby, then I'm not going to look necessarily at every orange or cream cat. It does help, you know, tell the difference. If you say your cat is cream, I'm not going to say, oh, well, it's probably this one. So it helps identify that. And it's important to know we have so many people who send in pictures of their cats saying, this is my lost cat, and it's actually listed as the wrong color. So we try to educate people on that because it's going to help them and help the animal and help us to help you. But this is Chakotay, and he is going to be available for adoption. And if you want to make him part of your family, you can go to visitfcac.as.me. Our first dog guest today is one of our very active dogs. This is Bean, and she's about 3 years old. And as you can see, she likes butt scratches. She's very into that. Not the only dog that has a butt scratch dance that's going to be on the show today. And she is a very sweet dog, very active dog, you know, very smart dog, food motivated, but she is a dog that is better suited for a dog savvy owner. So if you're looking for a first time dog, then Bean might not be the right fit for you. She, you know, is still working on her manners. And again, she is a high energy dog that's going to need a lot, you know, of mental and physical stimulation, you know, getting her on a routine, you know, at least, you know, some outside time every day is going to be important for her. She's about 3 years old, so, you know, she is going to stay on the relatively small size here. If you have, you know, limits on, you know, the size of a dog that you can have, then she's, you know, underneath that 45-pound weight limit. You know, she is very friendly, very excited. But another thing that's important to know about Bean is she's not necessarily a fan of other dogs. So when she's out, you know, walking, she can walk past them and things like that. But at this point, we've not known Bean to be a dog that's really going to dig necessarily cohabitating with another dog or doing play groups and things like that. And she's not the only one on the floor like that. And it's definitely not a requirement for dogs to want to have dog friends. Some dogs just prefer human interaction, and that's totally okay. She does enjoy affection, but definitely needs to work on, you know, keeping her feet on the ground and things like that. But she has a lot of potential for the right person who is going to be able to work with her. She already knows sit, she knows paw, she knows speak, and we have kennel techs that are assigned to her that are working with her on teaching her like down and a variety of other things to kind of make her the best version of herself so that she can find a forever family.
So Bean is a little bit anxious here. So what have we been doing to help her with that?
So in addition to assigning her to a staff person so that she's going to get, you know, time outside of the kennel and you know, work on some of those things, we have been putting her on some medication. So she's on gabapentin, which can be used for a lot of different things, but it can be kind of a little bit of a sedative that's kind of helping her to relax while she's here in the shelter. And she's also on a supplement that you can get over the counter for dogs or for yourself called L-theanine that has some anti-anxiety properties. And you know, she's, again, not the only dog that's on them. Harley's on some medication for anxiety. A lot of the dogs are on L-theanine just because living here in the shelter is very, very stressful. So we're trying to do everything we can to, help all of them feel comfortable. It's possible that once they get into a home environment, they can be weaned off all of these medications, but it's not something that you want to just stop cold turkey. If you think that you are the dog savvy person to help Bean be the best version of herself and kind of work with her anxiety, you can go to visit fcac.as.me to begin the process. Our next guest is one of our pocket pitties. This is Mary Jane, and she is a 1-year-old terrier mix. And she is a very sweet girl, but she does take a little bit of time to warm up. Fortunately, she's highly food motivated, and that is an easy way to buy your way into her good graces. She loves food. Will eat pretty much anything and is super excited about it. She sees a snack, that tail goes back and forth. She can't get enough of those. She is very sweet, but again, does take a little bit of time to warm up into, new environments, new people. So, somebody who's going to be patient with her. She seems to be doing well, but she might be a dog that if you're really interested, maybe you do have to come twice to really kind of see her true personality. She is very smart, and since she's food motivated, she came in knowing some things already. So she already knows sit and she knows paw, and she will definitely eagerly give you her paw if she's in a seated position and you still haven't given her that treat yet. She is willing to work for those snacks. Hasn't been super interested in toys. I haven't seen her doing a lot of playing with those things, but some dogs, unfortunately, haven't had a lot of access to toys, so they don't really know how to play, and other dogs are just a little bit too nervous in this environment. So once they settle in, they get more interested in things like that. And while she does have some basics, like most dogs of her breed, she isn't necessarily the best leash walker. So that's one of the things that she really needs to work on. Yes, she is a smaller dog, but she's still about 43 pounds. So she's still, has that muscular build. She's lower to the ground, and we've seen it with Gia. They're built like tanks, so they can kind of move when they're ready. Yes, she does have the cropped ears. She came to us that way. That's something that we don't necessarily advocate for. In fact, it's in our contract that when you adopt, that you won't do that. But she came to us already that way, unfortunately. So, when you're looking for her body language and things like that, her ears are not going to be able to be something that you're able to use. So you will need to kind of look at other types of body language to make sure that you're understanding how she's feeling and when she is and is not comfortable.
So Mary Jane's been with us about 2 weeks, and she's made quite the transformation. Yeah. What was she like when she first arrived? So
when she first came in, she came in with her puppy, who has been placed with rescue. So there's no need to ask about the puppy. And she was very protective of it. So she was, but once we, separated her from the puppy, she was more relaxed. Initially, we did have to kind of cover her entire kennel for comfort. She was, definitely nervous, very tense, very timid, but, through a little bit of, good attention, some food rewards, and just settling into this very stressful environment, she's become the dog that you're seeing right now. And hopefully in a home environment, she'll continue to blossom and be the super sweet dog we know she's capable of being. But again, just a little time and patience is going to be important with these guys that are a little bit on the shyer side. If you think that you have the right home to help her continue to be the best version of herself, you can go to visit fcac.as.me to begin that process. Another smaller dog for you, at least smaller for us. This is Sinclair, and she's about 2 years old, and she's another one of our terrier mixes. And like all of them, she is an energetic little spitfire. She is, definitely a dog that is an active girl, very curious, full of a zest for life, which, is to some degree what people are looking for in a dog, right? You want a dog that's going to get you out and get you active and give you lots of love. And she's definitely capable of that. And I'm sure that once somebody looks into her big brown eyes, they'll be like, nope, she's mine and I need to take her home forever. She is, like all of them, food motivated. She does seem to know a sit already. So, easy, at least on that front, to work on things like basic good manners. If you can get a dog that knows how to sit, you can work on the say please protocol, which will do a lot in terms of helping them keep their feet on their grounds, learning patience. It's in a very helpful tool that we encourage lots of people to use here. She seems to be quite dog friendly, and we know that that is, something that people are also looking for. So she hasn't had any, issues walking past the other dogs here. We don't necessarily let them engage in play, but, walking through the kennels, she's not stirring up trouble or trash talking or any of those things. Not necessarily interested in toys at this point, for the same reason that maybe Mary Jane isn't interested, but doesn't really have any issues with her food. She's easy to leash up, and unlike a lot of the other terrier mixes, she's easy to walk. So a lot of people struggle with that. I don't live in a home with a fenced backyard. I have to walk my dog every day. So the dogs that pull can be challenging for those people. So Sinclair is going to be an easy walker, which will be very helpful for a lot of those people that don't have that fenced yard.
So often people come to the shelter looking for smaller type dogs. Currently, Sinclair's our smallest dog. Is that correct?
Yeah. So technically Dundee weighs less, but he's only 6 months old. So he's going to pack on a few more pounds. So at 38 pounds, she's more of a medium-sized dog. But definitely the smallest one that we have right now. If you're looking for the teeny tiny floofy dogs, we very often don't have those. And when they do, they go quickly. Like before their picture's even up somewhere, people are, coming in and wanting to make them part of their family. So if you're looking for something on the smaller size, this is the smallest dog that we have right now. We do have some other dogs that are about the same size. Bean is about 41 pounds. We also have, some pocket pitties that are quite muscular, but still in that 40-pound range as well. But again, easy walker. So, if smaller is what you're looking for, she might fit the bill for you. If you want to make her part of your family, you can go to visit fcac.as.me. Our final guest is one that you've seen before. This is Harley, and she is currently one of our longest residents here at Animal Control. Unfortunately, she's coming up on her 1-year shelter anniversary. Last year at Christmas time, she was adopted briefly. She knows that there's the toy bin over there, and she's very eager to get there. She was adopted, and unfortunately, it just didn't work out, and she was returned in January. So on January 16th, it'll be 1 year since she's been here without any, adoptions or anything like that. But she's been doing pretty well because she is, very well loved by the staff and volunteers here. She gets lots of attention. And she's going to be a great pet for somebody who has the time for her. She's not a couch potato dog. She does like to cuddle and things like that, but she needs a routine with exercise and things to keep her mentally and physically stimulated. She's very, very smart and very food motivated. So training her is a fun thing to do. We have some volunteers with training background, and they enjoy spending time with her and working with her on things. It definitely makes her quite happy. But she's also a dog that, if you give her something to do, she is able to occupy herself. We've left her in the ed room before, just to wander around on her own. She does pull all of the toys out of the toy bin, but she doesn't really destroy them. She walks around, plays with them, sits in the chairs, naps a little bit, moves around. So she is a dog that's definitely capable of occupying herself. She is a dog that is best suited as an only dog because she doesn't necessarily love living with other dogs. And she does have a bit of a prey drive. So, guinea pigs and cats and things like that might not necessarily be her best household companions. But she's very, very sweet, very smart, very active, and has tons of great qualities. She's just looking for that right family. And we know that family is out there somewhere for Harley.
So Harley is very active, like you said, and because of that, staff feels like she might do something as a dog sport might do well for her.
Yeah, so she likes to jump on everything. Like she has jumped on counters here. She's jumped on the chairs. One of our staff has a walker. She's helped herself to using that. So she rides in the wagon that we have here. So we think that Harley would actually be a really good agility dog. We have some agility equipment outside that volunteers have been having her jump over and jump on. She jumps on the picnic tables outside. And because she's very very smart and food motivated and enjoys training. We think that that will be a great outlet for her, and that she would probably do very well in that. It's something that you don't necessarily need to do with other dogs. You know, she doesn't have to engage with them at those types of events, and it would be a great outlet for her. If that's something that you're interested in, we think she'd be very successful, and it would give her what she needs in terms of that stimulation. Whether you want to do agility or you just want to take her out on lots of long hikes and things like that, lots of out in the backyard playtime. If you have that ability to give Harley that, and you think that she's exactly the dog that you're looking for, you're going to want to go to visit fcac.as.me. We hope you've enjoyed meeting some of our adoptable dogs and cats, but as is always the case, we have many more that we aren't able to showcase on the show. So if you haven't seen something that strikes your fancy, go ahead and book that a visitation appointment, because you never know what you might find here at Animal Control.